If you follow my work at all, then you know I am not a big Scooby-Doo fan. In the past, I've spoken about how the Scooby-Doo Batman mashup movie, Scooby-Doo Meets Batman, was the first instance in my memory where I can recall disliking something. When you're a kid, all cartoons are good, but the scene where Batman inexplicably loses his pants for a few frames of animation turned me into the cynical adult I am today. It's when I realized that not all cartoons are good, which led me down the winding road to learn that not all movies are good, and not all video games are good, which led me to a career, so I guess I can't be too upset with Shaggy and Pals. Outside of just never really engaging with the cast of Scooby-Doo, by the way, are they high school kids who just never go to school? Did they graduate from high school? Why isn't Velma in college? Anyway, the show just felt embarrassingly cheap to me, even through my childhood eyes. The storylines were all the same, and Shaggy's feet seemed to slide across the floor wherever he walked. It just turned me off. I connect cheap animation and Scooby-Doo, which made me cautiously optimistic about the movie Scoob. Clearly, Warner Brothers had spent some money on this thing, and Warner Brothers Animation has turned out a lot of good stuff. Storks is way better than it has any right to be. Seriously, I recommend it. Smallfoot is weirdly about the dangers of buying into a religion that somehow managed to dodge controversy. And 3 of the 4 Lego movies are great. Even the one that's not that great still has some pretty solid jokes in it. All of these things add up to maybe Scoob being a solid movie. It ultimately wasn't, but it is certainly the best Scooby and Pals have ever looked. First, the things I liked about the movie. Early on, there is an overt extended cameo from This American Life's Ira Glass. It might be my favorite part, and I had to pause the movie to let my kid know why I thought it was so funny and so unexpected. There is also a joke where a police officer chases down a rambunctious pup named Scooby-Doo, and Scooby happens to run into Shaggy for the first time, and when Shaggy convinces the officer that it is his dog and makes up his name on the spot, the police officer basically says, the dog must be yours because he has a middle name, and says he won't be punished for the theft or destruction he has caused, which I thought that was funny. It made me laugh. Overall, I liked the first 20 minutes or so of the movie. I like seeing the gang get together and solve their first mystery. I like that 2 juggalos, yes, juggalos, steal Shaggy's Halloween candy in an attempt to save their teeth from decay. And though I don't know that I entirely agree, I like the implication that Ruth Bader Ginsburg would be placed in Slytherin House. And even though I really, truly don't have any nostalgia for the original show, or at least I thought I didn't, I liked the montage recreating the show's opening and watching Mystery Inc. grow up into teenagers, college students, I guess? I don't know. There's no way of knowing, unfortunately. Once Simon Cowell shows up to kickstart the plot, though, the whole thing just fell apart for me, and it becomes far less interesting. Nothing happening with Blue Falcon is particularly interesting and ultimately only serves to break up the group, which is kind of a bad idea. Captain Caveman's cameo seems forced and also in total opposition of his original character, unless I'm misremembering. And the plot of Scooby being some kind of singular ancestor of an ancient race of dogs is convenient to the point of being boring. And it also just makes it needlessly complicated. I admittedly fell asleep for about 5 minutes, but I was confused why Dick Dastardly had to open a portal to hell, leading to a fight with Cerberus for some reason. But speaking of Dastardly, I like Jason Isaacs' Dick Dastardly, and I like Dastardly's sympathetic goal. I also like Zac Efron's Fred and the accompanying joke about him being a discount Hemsworth. It was directed at Fred, but we know it's really about Efron. I also liked Gina Rodriguez's Velma and Amanda Seyfried's Daphne, but as much as I absolutely adore Will Forte in everything, I did not like his Shaggy. It completely lacked the weirdness he is usually able to add to his characters, and it ended up feeling like a mediocre impression of Shaggy, something he has admitted he is awful at.
People know that I'm not good at impersonations on the show, and so they wrote a part where I just came in to do a bad Christopher Walken, but my Walken is so bad that I got removed from the sketch because it wasn't even good enough to be a bad Christopher Walken.
Also, what a weird, maybe even bold choice to have Ken Jeong play the most stable character in the movie. there was also so much licensed music, which was distracting. It feels like cheating when a children's movie uses a lot of licensed music, like an easy but expensive way to improve a scene and make parents happy because, hey, they recognize those songs. It is certainly not an offensive movie. I didn't hate it. It might even be my favorite piece of Scooby-Doo media by having a handful of jokes that made me genuinely laugh, but that is coming from someone who has never really liked Scooby-Doo and also hasn't sought out the more recent Scooby-Doo shows and direct-to-DVD movies, which I hear some of which are pretty solid, so I don't know that my opinion here is really worth much. It's just not my thing. It's weird that the movie is an obvious first step toward building a Hanna-Barbera universe of films, which is something I don't know needs to exist, but hey, if it leads to a Jetsons movie, then maybe it will have all been worth it. Full disclosure here, I Googled a list of Hanna-Barbera characters to try and pick one that I would actually want to see in a movie, but I couldn't find one, so I just went with the Jetsons. I'm sure that would be fine.